Arnold Hall is a conference and retreat center located in Pembroke, Massachusetts, 1 hour south of Boston. It is comprised of 7 buildings on 200 acres of land in beautiful New England. As you enter the property, you are greeted by a shrine to Our Lady.
I think that's so telling that as you enter, the first thing you see is Our Lady, housed beautifully. It's not like a shoddy little plastic statue of Our Lady. It's this beautiful image in a beautiful setting in an intentional kind of space carved out for it, which is at the gateway to Arnold Hall. And so Our Lady kind of as the gateway to this encounter with Christ.
When you stay at Arnold Hall, you don't feel as a guest. You don't feel as a visitor. You don't even feel like you're somebody attending a conference. You feel you are coming to be part of a family.
Arnold Hall is privately owned and operated as a nonprofit organization, Arnold Hall Incorporated. The spiritual activities offered are entrusted to Opus Dei, a personal prelature of the Catholic Church.
Opus Dei means a path to sanctify your daily work.
And it's a way in particular of becoming a contemplative through one's work in the middle of the world.
It gave me as a mom at home the opportunity to bring this incredible meaning to the work I was doing every day. You know, picking up Cheerios, peeling potatoes, all these tasks, diapers, up at night, all of a sudden it wasn't just work, it was prayer. It was a way for me to connect with God and become who He wanted me to be.
It's to be a better father, to be a better husband, to be better at your work, to work with competence and professionalism. And so those are means of sanctification. That you can do your job well is a way for you to enhance your holiness.
Hosting 72 events a year, Arnold Hall offers doctrine and philosophy classes, summer camps, family picnics, fatherhood conferences, women's leadership courses, and silent retreats for adults, priests, and high school and college students.
Our present environment, our day-to-day life, there is no space for asking the important questions. Going on retreat is a time to step back and really think about the bigger questions that really matter.
There are annual workshops, usually Women Trustees of Humanity. Now, we women know that we are in charge of humanity.
It's kind of a nice bridge between a retreat and then, just a strictly professional conference for women. We talked about dialogue, because things have become so polarized, politically and just culturally.
A priest can become very isolated once they're out in a parish, especially these days when there's fewer priests. So St. Josemaria saw this. Diocesan priests have a great need for opportunities for fraternity, opportunities for friendship with their fellow priests. Right? They have a great need for spiritual direction. They have a great need for reminding themselves of the good philosophical and theological training they received in the seminaries.
The value of the retreat is not only the experience itself, but also its impact on daily life.
I was invited to come here from a friend of mine, and I came with, great reluctance. And I show up, and they gave an introductory talk explaining what would happen for the weekend. And they said, okay, the activities begin this, and then at some point they said, it's silent. It's a silent retreat. And I was, I was shocked, so much so that I said, all right, I'm not going to do anything too rash here. I'm going to let everybody settle in. And when people are asleep, I'm getting out of here. I'm leaving. I stayed, and it was a transformative event in my life.
I think it's hard to listen because there's so much going on in daily life. Life just goes, and you go and you react and you react and you react. But there's a difference when you have time and space, to breathe and then listen, and then you can respond. I think Arnold Hall creates that for you.
And I realized that urge to avoid silence was keeping me from encountering something. On that retreat, it was really like a conversion moment. It was like a conversion to live a life of interiority.
When I was in college, I was, going through a tough time, and I was able to make a very good confession. And I just remember walking around the lake and feeling just a whole lot of weight off of my shoulders, and I suppose it's not too far to say like a spiritual renewal. And probably a moment where I moved from a adolescent faith to a more mature faith.
I'm a better mom, a better wife, a better friend. Like every time I leave here, I'm just like, it's like taking a deep breath and like smelling the flowers.
People might think they come here to reflect on the creation of the universe. No. It's how am I treating my wife? How am I at home? My kids don't want to see a dad that comes in the door and has an angry face. The home is a place for love.
My children love it when I go on retreat because, Mom, when you come back, you're so much happier. Or, you always stop and get some Starbursts on the way home for us. And I notice when my husband goes on retreat, he comes home with a bouquet of roses for me.
Just going to Mass during the retreat makes you feel so in connection with God. He's treated with a lot of reverence. The way the priest genuflects, the way the priest says the consecration, it makes you tremble inside. It shakes you. And you realize that you gotta live that kind of faith. Your faith has to be that strong.
I think a lot of people today feel invisible. It's hard to feel as though a person can be seen and noticed by the bustling world around us. But when people come to Arnold Hall, they feel visible and they feel noticed and they feel cared for.
When you're talking with someone and they're like not listening to you and they're thinking of what they want to say, you just feel kind of like you walk away, you don't feel like fulfilled, you kind of feel empty. When you come here, like there is a big difference when someone intentionally looks you in the eyes and listens to you. Like that's so rare.
A very dear, I never knew my grandparents, and a fellow named Les Gallagher, an elderly gentleman, would walk with me, and we'd walk around the property, and he'd hold my arm and he'd give me the wisdom of his days, and I will always cherish that memory.
Perhaps the most unique aspect of Arnold Hall is that those who operate and manage the facility, the administration, see their work as a lifelong, God-given vocation to serve in a hidden way.
So the women that work here and run the center, which it's an incredible amount of work that they do. I still think there's some sort of like magic that they have. I don't know how they do it.
It's hard to describe, to arrive at a place and know that the people who are going to take care of you have been waiting for you for a long time sometimes.
I think as people start to wonder, right, they start to realize, wait, there's a lot of people who are sacrificing themselves so that my experience here can be a truly spiritual experience. And there's a lot of people sacrificing themselves in ways that I can never say thank you. I may never even know who they are until the final judgment.
They have given, many of them, their whole life to Arnold Hall. And then at the end of life, Arnold Hall is caring for them, just like you would in a family.
When you're here, they love you. It's just the best because it's so fun. Like, it's nice to be loved as who you are.
There are girls and young women and women that come here that when they're here in their high school programs, they start to see this could be my professional work, and it's great professional work. And it would be a great way to be a contemplative in the middle of the world. And it would be a great way to be of service of thousands of souls throughout my life.
Arnold Hall was founded in 1965 when a priest from Spain came to the United States to help grow the mission of Opus Dei.
The main engine behind it was a priest in Opus Dei, Father Joseph Muskis. And in one of his trips, he was speaking to one of his colleagues. And he kind of looked up and he said, on that hill, I would like for one day that there be a conference center, a retreat center, with 30 rooms, so that all of people who have the ability and the opportunity can come spend some time with our Lord. I'm sure through his prayers and intercession, it happened. So we sit here today with this beautiful physical plant and these beautiful buildings and this beautiful landscaping, and his vision has been realized.
And now, with Arnold Hall having served souls for so many years, there is a growing need to ensure this work can continue and flourish.
I think, as I did initially, when you see the place, there's a sense that, there's a couple of heavy hitters that are kind of endowing this place with all kinds of bucks to maintain the beauty of it. And it's not the case at all. Arnold Hall exists principally on the revenues that are derived from the activities that take place at Arnold Hall.
So we always tell students that it is so important for you to make a retreat, that even if you feel you have zero money, come and make the retreat and we'll make up for it somehow.
It's amazing to think that, Arnold Hall encourages anybody to come here, regardless of your financial situation, which is a huge sigh of relief for so many people. But the flip side of that is, it does have to run itself, and we can take it for granted that you can show up year after year and you'll get the same great food, the same comfortable bed, the same beautiful facilities, and it'll always be there because it always has been.
Across generations, Arnold Hall continues to serve people of all ages and walks of life and believes this is just the beginning.
There are women and men who come here who have grandchildren who are now coming on retreat at Arnold Hall, and the message has never changed.
I was here since I was born, pretty much. Like, my mom would bring me to her circles, her mom's groups, which I do now, which is crazy, in the same building.
And I think as children grow and see that this is probably the most consistent message they've ever had in their lives, as culture changes, as social norms change, as education trends change, the message of Opus Dei that you hear at Arnold Hall is consistent.
It's that we want Arnold Hall to be of service, not just for a few decades to come, but for centuries to come.
I know I've brought friends to Arnold Hall. I know my parents have brought friends. So you kind of have this familial line, and then it kind of branches out, pulling even more people. And it's just hard to even imagine, when Arnold Hall was open in 1965 to now, how much of an impact that ripple effect has had.
You can start to see how just this one place could be a focal point for a seed that sprouts, that produces a tree, and that produces much fruit. And that produces much fruit in ways that are far beyond the people who first planted the seed could ever imagine.
This Arnold Hall is a treasure. It's like that pearl in the field. It's a true treasure.
This is our chance, and Arnold Hall is our place to prepare to be saints.